This is Dave Meltzer with Entrepreneur the Playbook, and I have Chris Del Conte, the athletic director here at the University of Texas. It's an incredible place, by the way, if you haven't seen it. Chris, I want to start, most people want to work with what they love. You know, they love medicine, if they love music, but sports is one of those areas, as an ex-CEO of Leigh Steinberg, that people, God, I wish I had your job. There's only so many athletic directors, especially here. What is the path that someone would take to get the job of their dreams?
Well, I think you have to start early, right? I think the reality is we always, all my college friends go, gosh, I can't believe you're there. But we were all at the same point at one time, right? And we were all looking at it. And I think that's where you have a crossroads when you look at what your passion is or what your economic needs are. And for me, it was always about I was going to chase something that was a passion that I wanted to wake up every day fired up to do. But it's really a game of attrition, because a lot of people then get to a certain point and they say, just I'm not making it quick enough. And they look for the quick fix, right? And our society has been all about where we're at today is I want to be the boss today. And I started out, in 1991, 92, no money. I worked in the maintenance department for 4 years before I got my first job at Cal Poly making $18,000. So it was always just the idea was never about the money. It was always about the career and what opportunities it provided me. But a lot of people today just seem to be looking for the quickest answer to a paycheck and not the quickest answer to a fulfilling job.
Well, I'm glad you answered that way, because a lot of, I'm friends with Tannenbaum, for example, Mike Tannenbaum, and he always said, well, I got lucky. I said, Mike, we graduated law school together. And I wanted to work in sports when I graduated, but with $100,000 of law loans and parents who believed in being a real lawyer, I wasn't willing to make $600 a month working for the Saints as a legal intern or whatever he did for 2 years.
Right.
That takes a lot of courage. Was there any point of your career, I know 4 years in the maintenance, you're like the Warren Moon of ADs. Yeah, it's been 6 years in Canada.
Right, exactly.
I'm not sure which one's worse, playing football in Canada or being in the maintenance department at Cal Poly. But was there ever a point where you did think, God, yeah, I'm never going to have a wife, I can't have kids, I'm never going to have a life because I'm just not making any money?
No, the reality is I grew up in a children's home in Taos, New Mexico. So my parents were missionaries. So I was going through this idea, and sport was, I lived it where it got me popular in school, got a scholarship, all those things that happened. Dr. Donati, who's Jeremiah Donati, the AD at TCU, his dad was a team doctor at Washington State, who used to be a parent at the house at the ranch, got me a job, and I was in the maintenance department, just working my way up. Met Mr. Livengood, who was the AD at the time, and then Rick Dixon came in after the fact. Was an awesome experience, but it was never about what I wanted to be. I left there, Washington State, at the grad school, owning $58,000 in student debt.
Wow.
Got a job. I was married to Sally Mae for 18 years. That lady took me to the cleaners, baby.
Yeah. She is.
But the idea was, it was never about what I wanted. The end result was not to be an AD at the time. I was in a profession that I felt gave students the opportunity to change their life through education. So it was just a labor of love. As you started to move through, people that were my contemporaries and my peers were leaving the profession because they weren't making it, moving up quick enough. They were getting unrest, and they needed this and that, and they were finding the pressures. I got to make more money for my newly married, a house. I was happy being a renter. It was never part of that. So I didn't get caught up in that at all.
And amongst your peers, there's several different trajectories or ways to get to where you want. Do you see that as the more common? It was just a matter of attrition and obviously you have to have talent, right? Some of the people did drop off because they just weren't as good at what they do. But do you see, on average, that's usually what's happening? Someone that has the passion, has the purpose, and willing to make the sacrifice, sooner or later they get an opportunity and you kind of detach yourself for how long it's going to take? Right. Is that what you've seen? Or?
I think in college athletics, there's 3,500 academic institutions in the United States. Think about 3,500 academic institutions, all of them having some form of college athletics with them. There's 65 Power 5 teams. There's 65 Group of 5. But there's hundreds and hundreds of 1AA, Division III, Division II, NIA. There's a lot of opportunities. So for me, it was, where do you want to end up? So it's very few to get to become a Power 5 AD. But there's such a rewarding career path within that. Yeah. That you can say you can be in charge of academics, compliance, the business office, facilities, whatever it may be, that you grow up in that. For me, it was never the idea was going to be the AD. I mean, I was very lucky. I was at Arizona. I went from Cal Poly back to Washington State, was there for a year and a half, got to Arizona, got amazing opportunities, then became the AD at Rice. I think I was 37 at that particular time. I went from Rice to TCU to here. So timings were right. We had great staff around us, great coaches that were successful, and we were able to just move forward.
Now, mentorship, I was blessed to know Dr. Donati, of course, mentor Jeremiah Donati, the AD at TCU as well. Mentorship is a key component at UT as well as throughout your career. You were wise enough to take and be a mentee to so many people, and then now you mentor so many people,
Right.
and you have the power now to change lives when you mentor and give opportunities to people. What characteristics do you look for when you are mentoring someone or even hiring someone to kind of move through your system?
Well, I think it goes back to three things my father always told me. You got to be honest, you got to be humble, and you got to have a servant heart. And those three things for me have always been part of my structure. Be honest. Be humble in what you do, because braggadocious people will then end up can hurt the enterprise, hurt yourself if it's all about you, it's about we. And then you have a servant heart. And if you have those three things, to me, allows you to be successful. We're in an enterprise where, by title, I am the athletic director, but I am only in the athletic director in those that I serve. So if it was Alexander Haig, hear me roar, that doesn't work today. It's about how do we collectively get a group of people to achieve greatness through their efforts of intercollegiate sport. And that's really the way I go about it. So mentoring, my mentors to me were all along the way, were always telling me, hey, remember, it's about the coaches and student athletes. That was first and foremost. And if you keep the main thing, everything around it should funnel that way.